moving on from question 2, we've got a highlight tool ready to go, and we're going to read the question stem for this two-speaker question at the outset. It states, Leticia's and Eugene's statements provide the most support for holding that they would disagree over which of the following. When you have a two-speaker prompt, you have to consider whether you're dealing with an inference task or an argument task. And in this case, Leticia and Eugene's statements are supposed to support what they would disagree on. So this is actually going to be an inference task. So you've got to be careful about distinguishing this, which means that we're going to highlight in different colors the individual statements of fact and then find an answer choice that they are committed to disagreeing about explicitly, so that it's not something that you have to speculate about. It's actually something that they are on opposite sides of as an issue. So starting with Leticia's statements, people with an exceptional talent for teaching are morally obligated to spend their lives as teachers regardless of whether they would find that career fulfilling, simply because the need for outstanding teachers is so high. This seems incredibly subjective, but we don't even need to break it down because it's just one statement of fact that we are accepting because we're looking at an inference task. This is why identifying the task is so important as a first step. We'll now change our color and read Eugene's statements. Eugene says, talent never carries with it any obligation to be used. So I'm going to just highlight that. There it goes. Well, kind of. Come on, fella. There we go. Can be a little bit of a wonky interface from time to time. Then we're going to switch our color. It would be highly commendable for people with a talent for teaching to choose a career in teaching simply because society needs good teachers, but they would not be morally required to do so. Well, there's our statement of our second statement of fact for Eugene. So now we're going to go through our answer choices, seeking to eliminate for things that are not guaranteed to be a point that Leticia and Eugene are going to be on opposite sides of. So, an exceptionally talented teacher who is offered a more lucrative job outside of teaching is morally bound to refuse the offer. Well, we are talking about morals throughout. And we've got morally required here in Eugene's yellow statements, and we've got morally obligated, which is the same in the orange statements by Leticia. Let's pretend we don't see how this is exactly something they have to be on opposite sides of, but at least we recognize that the statement about being morally bound is relevant to each of the speakers. So we'll just leave that open for now. Then choice B, it should be legally permissible for teachers who grow tired of their work to abandon it. Well, let's just focus on the one statement from Leticia. We don't see anything about legally permissible from Leticia. So I just highlight legally permissible, and I should be able to eliminate choice B for that reason, because we don't know where Leticia would be on this issue of legal permission for teachers to abandon their work. So B is out for needing additional information. Then choice C, only students with an exceptional talent for teaching are morally required to become teachers. Well, again, students with an exceptional talent morally required to become teachers. Well, again, there may or may not be another reason out there. And again, we don't actually talk about the students whatsoever. So that, again, would need additional information for Leticia. Then choice D, some talented teachers who find that their job performance is impaired by stress. Well, we don't actually have Leticia's position on job performance and stress at all either. So we can highlight that as a reason to eliminate choice D. And then choice E, exceptionally talented teachers can be even better at their work if they believe that they have a moral obligation to continue their careers. Well, we're not talking about the degree to which the talented teachers are good or better at their work for Eugene. So we can eliminate E for that reason. And A is, of course, correct because Leticia says that the exceptionally talented teacher has to teach. That's guaranteed. But Eugene says you don't have to do it. So they're on opposite sides, even though you might say, well, who cares about a lucrative job? They're just giving an example. And that example is absolutely relevant to each speaker, and they are committed to be on opposite sides of that issue to disagree about it.